Good morning and welcome to the Ask Weldon Show, episode 231. We're back full in the swing of things, you guys. Third day in, and we have a show put together for you today. Some three odd, very interesting and fantastic questions about hurtful teammates, energy drinks, and which champions are best for mental training. No big announcements. It's hot here in Finland. I was just telling this to my stream, but it is so warm that I went to the beach and I was able to sit with my shirt off. That's how hot it is here. That I wasn't cold when I took my t-shirt off at the beach. I was in the shade, but that's an exceptional level of warmth for Finland. It's like 70 or 80 degrees consistently almost every day. It is the hottest summer in I think like 200 years, the news was saying. Some sort of metric is, I don't know if it's like it's been hot for so long, it's been the longest heat streak or whatever. But anyway, 200-year summer. It's the summer to end all summers in Finland this year. You can go to the beach and actually swim in the lake and not run away screaming the moment your toe hits the water from the temperature drop. Anyway, no other big news or announcements. I'm just trying to get to the lake every single day after work and make sure that I soak it in, because I know at some point it's going to be 30 below and I'm going to be kicking myself for living in this. Actually, that's when I'm really happy. What am I going to be kicking myself for? Nothing. I'm going to be dancing around outside in the snow. Ugh. Okay. Let's get it started. The first question of the day comes from John, and he talks about how to handle hurtful teammates or coworkers. Well, he doesn't talk about it. He asks about it.
Hey, Weldon. Let's say one of your coworkers, or in the world of esports, let's say teammates, does something that hurts you. For example, let's say that you find out he was telling someone else that he doesn't think you're good enough for the team, and doesn't like playing or working with you or whatever. Do you think it's best to confront the person? Or even if you don't, how do you recover and maintain a positive working relationship with that person? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks.
All right. Good question. I hope that I have a good answer. So I think that this depends on what kind of relationship you want to have with the person, or what you intend to, because the reaction of like just moving on and not worrying about it versus investing yourself as a friend is very different. So first of all, you need to kind of determine that. Like, are they an acquaintance, a friend, a potential relationship lover person? Like what is the degree of which you want to be invested in their lives? And if they're an acquaintance, then a lot of your work is going to be internal, right? You're going to be working on just making sure that you feel good about yourself, that you're palatable, that they don't hurt you, in an intrinsic way, by finding your social support network, maybe complaining about them a little bit, trying not to gossip about them, trying to be the bigger person, kind of like using them as a hurdle in life over which you are training your Buddhist principles of tolerance and love and compassion, and just slewing it off your shoulders. Okay? However, if they're a friend or a colleague that you plan to have some sort of deeper friendship with, then you have to think about it more as a doctor. Then you have to think about it more as maybe that this is coming off a little strong, because I don't want you to think that you have to wander around saving other people from themselves, right? But generally speaking, if you're in a relationship with somebody and they're doing something hurtful, you want to think about like what it is that is kind of wrong with them, that they're lashing out at people, and how it is that you could maybe assist with that, right? If it's loneliness, if it's stuck in a relationship that's bad, if it's frustration with boss, if it's frustration with career, whatever it is, there's a social answer to it through friendship. So, and that's kind of a long-term thing, for finding some way of fulfilling somebody without spending money on them. That's key. If it's just like you spend money on somebody, that's not really That's not really the kind of investment I'm talking about. But if it's that they're wounded in some way and they need somebody in their life like you who's dependable, then you have to kind of take a self-sacrificial, in a way, look at being hurt by them. So you have to do everything you did in the first example, except you have to throw yourself back in the fire and the potential damage or danger of getting hurt again for the benefit of the relationship and the friendship. So that's kind of like something you have to decide based on your intention on how to relate to them in the future. I hope those two lenses help. And then if it's something that's actually hurtful, so we're talking about like physical harm or sexual molestation level harm or misconduct that makes you feel uncomfortable related to these protected things like race and gender, then that's a totally different situation, and you have to follow the rules. I think people need consequences for the behaviors, even if you like them, or even if you don't agree with the consequences. Even if you like the person and you don't agree with the consequences, the rules are the rules. So if it's something against the rules, then it just needs to be brought out and it needs to be pursued, not in a vindictive way, but in kind of like everybody signed in on these, and that's how society works, is through these social contracts. So sorry, but you got to sign in on them too. All right. I hope that was helpful. Let's jump into the second question. Make sure I get it pulled up here first. It's this one, right? Yes.
Hi, Eldon. I'm having troubles in my life. I had a really good achievements in my life, drinking a lot of energy drinks, and now I stopped consuming energy drinks, and I'm having a really hard time to get the same results without it. And I don't trust myself. Also, it feels like I am literally burnout and feeling depressed. I don't know what to do. What do you recommend for me? Thank you. And if you can recommend also some books to read, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Good question. So this is related to the addiction level of caffeine, essentially, and sugar a little bit. So essentially there's I just said that word twice. My bad. I'm about to say it again. Suppressed. Don't say essentially okay. There is a withdrawal effect for caffeine and also for sugar that will have an impact on your life that's very emotional. So for example, the feelings of burnout and slowness and sluggishness that you feel are very common with caffeine withdrawal. So this is quite a normal thing you're experiencing, all right? And I'm telling you this because the bad news is you have to ride it through. You have to finish the withdrawal before you can start to feel normal again in terms of your life. Energy drinks are basically a pile of sugar and caffeine, both of which are addictive, both of which have, an effect on your neurology that are saying like, drink me, drink me, drink me. Caffeine in and of itself also has a performance enhancing effect, so it makes you more focused for longer, which helps a lot with video games as a cognitive performer. And so you have to replace that effect by having a contract with yourself that says, I will not drink caffeine even though it might help me play better today. Or you can switch to tea. Tea is something that will actually improve your longevity and your healthiness and your anti-cancer rates. And there's all sorts of things that like tea boosts for you, including giving you 60. So for example, you might have 200 milligrams of caffeine in one of your energy drinks. And tea, you might have anywhere from 60 to 120, depending on if it's black, white, green, or the amount of time that you steep it in, the temperature of the water, etc. So you could just switch completely to tea and kind of not withdraw all the way and just have that be your palliative that gives you the feeling of having caffeine in your body that allows you to keep performing at the level that you're currently performing. Your performance will not drop permanently. It will drop strongly through the withdrawal, okay? We know that caffeine cessation, stopping caffeine, there's several different effects that caffeine has, okay? Some of the effects that caffeine has boost your performance when you take them. Okay, when you take caffeine. So those are the ones that most people drink energy drinks for. Then there's the effects of caffeine that sustain your performance until you stop taking it. So you get addicted, and then your performance is like, it's at normal, okay? And then you start drinking energy drinks, and it stays normal. And then you stop drinking energy drinks, and it drops. And then as you finish the withdrawal, it comes back up to normal again. So those are the things that right now are going to be good down in your withdrawal, but they will come back up to normal once the withdrawal finishes, which can be anywhere from 3 days to 3 weeks, depending on how much energy drink you drink and how much caffeine you typically had coursing through your system, okay? For some of the symptoms. But you won't get the boost in performance and focus that you normally did that gave you like extended long-term focus. So that is kind of like gone. And I replace that with healthier caffeine drinks. So for example, coffee or tea. And I also replace it with meditation and sleep. So these are the things that you can do essentially. Excuse me. I'm not memeing you. When I said sleep, I just thought about sleep and then I yawned. Although it did look like kind of a funny timing. So yeah. So you can check that out by auditing your sleep schedule, by doing something like going to my Mac program, mindgames.gg/MAC, or headspace.com and getting some meditation that gives you the ability to train your brain to focus more, or to just drink a little bit of tea. Get your British on. All right, thanks for the question. Let's jump on to question number 3. And this would be a question from Austin. And he says,
Hello, Weldon.
Hi.
My question is, how do you deal with playing a champion
Sorry.
that rewards unhealthy
Very
/
loud.
risky plays? I am in my 3rd week of your program, and I feel that a lot of my progress is being undone since the champion I play, Morgana, encourages funneling all my attention on one thing. Do you think it's a good choice to change my champion choice in order to improve my gameplay, or do you think I can stick with my current champion, which I have a high win rate with, and correct the problem as I go?
all right. So in a way, this question isn't completely about like what is the best champ for mental training, but kind of whether or not there are bad champs for mental training. And I would like to say that yes, of course, there are some champs that are like better set up to help you with mental training, or that facilitate behaviors that would allow you to do mental training, or that or ones that are worse, that may just be easier to play and more boring or something like that, and hamper mental training. But all that fluctuation of mental training is in and of itself mental training. If you have a champ that is harder for mental training, then it's just more of a challenge for you. So kind of like a more difficulty curve, allowing you to actually mentally train more, right? And if you have a champion that's more facilitative of mental training, then it just makes mental training easier so you can get over like starting humps. So I would say something like Morgana, where I don't know what the issue is with Morgana. If I think about the champion, it seems to me that there's the opportunity for black shielding and kind of like prepping your mind for that specific event of like what it is you're going to black shield and which champion you're going to actually counter. And then, there's the skill shot, and then there's the initiation, and yeah, there's a number of different things that kind of need focus. It doesn't seem that qualitatively different than a lot of other champions that have 0 to 1 skill shots that are essential. And on top of it, it forces you to kind of like pay attention to your team, your teammates' positioning, their range compared to you, their intention and reading their body language, is trying to figure out what they're going to do before they do it so you can be prepared for it. And all of those things essentially call out for your focus in a very unique and sustained way. And that is a good challenge because it makes you have to kind of be mindful of, if you're focusing on your teammates, you also have to be mindful of the enemy, and that's not a normal thing for most other champions. So it seems to me that it would benefit, actually, mental training by making it more difficult and challenging you to be more mindful than a champion that is just looking for its chance to combo, basically. Or a Rengar, where once you push the ulti button, it's just you kill the AD carry or you lose, and so you just go in and don't think about it. That's not true. You do think about it, but you get my drift. Yeah, so I don't see any problem with Morgana. I don't see anything in any champion that would slow you down in terms of mentality or make it more challenging to do mental training. I think any sort of speed bump that you face is just more stringent mental training, because then you have to, do that thing while at the same time focusing on other stuff, or allowing yourself to not be distracted by the full focus of that element of gameplay. And yeah, that's how I see it. I assume we're mostly talking about attentional regulation here, where you're trying to regulate your attention between different things and kind of get into flow state. We're not so much talking about emotional regulation, where there are some champions that are definitely easier or harder to manage with a team. And then there's champions like Talon that you pick specifically to regulate the emotions of your opponents into disarray. All right, that's the show for you today. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to check out my Mac program, mindgames.gg/MAC. Use the code AskWeldon. This is the training program that I use to support everything that I'm doing with this brand. And right now, 100% of the profits, actually not profits, 100% of the revenue that I make is going towards production of the app. So if you want to support the development of mindfulness and emotional regulation and attention in solo queue environment around you guys, there's a couple different ways that you can support this. You can either buy the program and you'll get permanent access to the future app as well as the current version of the program, which is just 50 videos online. You can, of course, subscribe to my Twitch channel, which supports the program in a way. You can share this with people, not this, as in the program. You can share my content with people and spread it around, which supports me through, getting views and having an audience so that I can look for sponsors, etc. Or you can probably directly donate. I don't know. I don't even have that set up, but it's not like I'm going to turn down money that is going to help me get to the Mac program, because I've been waiting for this thing to finish forever. And now that my business structure is set up, I'm literally just like pulling the trigger away from getting the app done. It's just about cash flow right now. And so the more that we push right now, the sooner that this will be done. And I'm really excited for that. Anyway, there's a ton of other benefits to the Mac program besides supporting the development of the future app. And those, the dirty little secret of that is that it kind of, one of the things it does is it seems to make people quit playing video games. I get a lot of emails like, hey, I quit playing video games after doing your Mac program and my life is 100 times better and I'm doing this other stuff instead. Then I get emails like, hey, I ranked up a ton after the Mac program and I'm able to regulate my emotions in the game and do all of these things. So it seems that the effect of the Mac program is not relegated just to improving your performance. It's a mindfulness-based sport performance enhancement program, but also improving your life performance. So yeah, if you're interested in any of that, make sure to check it out. And yeah, thanks for tuning in for the show today. Make sure to check out the show every single day at 6:30 p.m. on the URL related to Amazon's streaming service, plus my username, which I'm not going to say on YouTube because they're kind of prissy about that right now. And yeah, Mac program with the code AskWeldon. Catch you guys tomorrow. Oh, 7:30. Sorry, 7:30 p.m. because the time zone changed.